Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host, your casual dad, and today we are going over another episode of course, as you know, the ultimate guide to Civ 7. Today, we are looking at the wonders. You may be thinking, why are we not in game? Well, it's just a little bit easier going to the Civilopedia, the Civ Wiki, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you take a look at this website. I'll make sure to put it in the description. It's super helpful, nice little bookmark to have to reference. But we're gonna look through this in a nice little orderly fashion, starting with the wonders from Antiquity all the way up to Modern Age. Maybe you haven't taken the time to look at them all, or for whatever reason are confused by them, or whatever it is. So we're going to just go through and kind of talk about each wonder, see what you may want to use it for, or maybe you don't. So things like that. So make sure you stick around, leave a like, comment down below what your favorite wonder is from each age, and make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more Civ 7 content, as well as other 4X and strategy games. Don't forget to look at that description, like I said, for the link, as well as other links to join the Casual Dad gaming community. We can just hang out, have fun, and help each other, others enjoy playing games. Yeah, let's get into it. So the first one we have here is the Angkor Wat. It is production is, as you can see, 450. It's associated with the Khmer. Now, what does that mean? That means if Khmer civilization is in the game, they are going to have an advantage, because any wonder that is associated with a civilization, that civilization gets 30% off that wonder cost. So for the Khmer, this is not 450, it's 30% less. So it's going to be really hard for you to beat the Khmer to that, especially with where Angkor Wat falls. Now the requirements here, again, depending on if it's associated with a civilization, there may be more than one requirement. You get either to philosophy or to the Khmer's Civ of Amnak to be able to unlock it. And again, for some of these you'll see, like if you play on higher difficulties, it's going to be a little difficult if you're not that civilization to unlock it. And don't forget, there are achievements in-game for building the wonder associated with your civilization. Helps level up your account and your leader. We talked about that on the last episode. And so make sure you're doing that as much as possible. If it fits into your game plan, it may not, so that's fine. You also may have placement issues, so this, that could be an issue. That could be something to deal with as well. So for the Angkor Wat, we have 3 happiness and then 1 specialist limit in this settlement. Just this settlement, which, early on it may not matter too much, but guess what? This effect, from what I can tell, having built the game Angkor Wat, it stays all game. And so this is pretty good, especially if you're going for a science victory, because it'll help you get those bonus yields, those adjacencies and everything to hit your science victory condition in the Middle Ages, and then of course science to push through the tech tree in the Modern Age really fast. Plus the happiness. I mean, a happy city is a more productive city, so that's always a nice little bonus. But it has to be adjacent to a river tile. So which is good, because Khmer obviously has starting biases for rivers. But if you're not paying attention, or you get caught up in the juicy yields of the market or something, or some food tile or food building, you're gonna miss out. Also, sometimes you don't spawn there. I've had many games where even though I have a certain spawn bias, I did not spawn next to that bias. The one that comes to mind is Maya, as a I believe it's tropical spawn bias, and their wonder has to be put on a tropical tile. I spawned in the tundra. Go figure. That was a cursed game to begin with, so that's fine. But there's things. The point is, there's things that may affect your placement. So keep it in mind. That's why I'm going to give you this in the description, so that you can bookmark this. So whatever you're playing, or you're confused, you can just easily go and look it up and see, oh, okay, that's what I need to do. Because sometimes the information stuff in-game, in the in-game Civilopedia and stuff is not that great. Next up, we have Bursa. Pretty cheap for 375. It's associated with Carthage. You get it pretty early, just sailing or ship's sheds. I would suggest the way to unlock this one is to go to sailing. I'm not sure it's worth spending your civic time going to ship's sheds when this is so early. Especially, no, I'm talking about Carthage, all right? Everybody else, obviously, you gotta go to sailing. What does it do? It gives you +2 gold. That's fantastic. Trade routes from this settlement cannot be plundered. All cities in this, or all tiles in the city adjacent to the coast receive a wall if eligible for it, and it has to be placed on the coast. Really nice, really good, obviously, for any sort of island game. If you have fractal map with a little snaky deal going on. I think I've gotten 3 or 4 free walls out of this. It's pretty nice. I like the gold. I like it because it's just so cheap. A lot of times the AI does not build this until it's far in the game or they're playing as Carthage. And so in Antiquity, this really helps to hit that 7 wonder mark for your legacy path. If you're playing the cultural legacy path. The only problem is coast. Sometimes, depending on who you're playing as, you may not be next to coast, so several of these are on coast, so I would suggest getting to coast as soon as possible. Next up, we have the Colosseum. It is 450. Of course, by Rome is, and then you get it unlocked at either Entertainment or Civitas Publicus Romanus. For Rome, I still think, I mean, these are about the same. So it depends on what kind of Rome game you're having, which one you go to. Okay. But it's pretty good. +3 culture, +2 happiness on quarters in this settlement. It has to be adjacent to a district. So when you do this wonder, especially with, what was it I was doing? There was somebody that they had a special quarter and they got bonuses for being next to wonders. I think it was the opposites. And so their special quarter next to this just doubled up on the happiness. So, just plan out a little bit. Like, if you're playing somebody who they want to be next to the wonder, use the map tax mod in the workshop and plan out your city a little bit, like we've talked about before, and put the pin down, like, oh, right here, I'm gonna have this Colosseum and I'm gonna surround it by districts or quarters. I'm always gonna call them districts. And the Colosseum is gonna buff them up with happiness, make it a very happy city. Very helpful. So this one can be, even with Rome in the game, I haven't seen the AI on Deity build this super fast. So it can still be pretty easy to grab this for your victory condition. But I would not be dilly-dallying too much. I would get it when you could. Colossus. Now this one, I think I've only gotten once, and it was one of my first games when I was playing on lower difficulties to just learn and explore the new Civ 7 mechanics. That's because you get it at skilled trades. That's pretty far along in the civic tree, and so when you're playing Deity, Immortal, higher level difficulties, the AI with their bonuses and stuff, they usually get there pretty fast. Now, granted, also there's other civics that I'm more focused on with my play style, but this one I need to work it in more when possible. Yes, you have to be on the coast, but this is why you get +3 gold, +3 resource capacity in this settlement, and 1 economic attribute point. I like to play economic and production focused no matter what, so I really need to work this into my routine. Colossus is pretty good. Plus, it's just a beautiful wonder. All of these are really nicely done. The people over at Firaxis who made the wonders, like the look of them, fantastic job. Next up, there are gonna be 3. The next 3, I try to build pretty much every game. They're kind of like my core 3 plus another one I'll tell you about when it comes to trying to get my 7 wonders. So you have the Dur Shuriken, 275. You get it unlocked early at Discipline. So it's a fortified district, and you get 3 combat strength for all fortified districts in all settlements. So that's great. You have to do it on a flat tile, especially when you're playing Immortal and Deity, when you're most likely to be attacked by the AI, and they already have combat strength advantages because of the difficulty. You have somebody in there like you get like your Mississippi fire archers and do shuriken, and it makes it very difficult for them to do any sort of long-term damage to your empire. So this is a real nice combination with anybody you have. You get this with the Medjay from Egypt. Again, super hard to push Medjay Egypt with Dur Shuriken. It's gonna be a nice defensive wall that you have there. Funny enough, I actually prefer this over the Great Wall. I think this gives better defensive bonuses. Next up, the Emi Bell, Code of Laws 2. Now I get this pretty quick because, and for both of these really, people don't usually go for these. They're cheap. The AI on high difficulty don't really go for them, and so that's why they're kind of my core. Like, I like them enough that I want them almost every game, and the AI doesn't go for them, and so I'm guaranteed 4 out of the 7 off the bat, super easy, and then I just have to find 3 more out of this list to do. So this one gives you a unique endeavor, the Ginseng Agreement, which gives with food to both leaders, and you get a diplomatic attribute point. It has to be put on a rough tile. This is really nice, especially with the food changes. As long as those don't get nerfed, it's going to remain nice. Your capital, because it's just for the capital, ends up getting very big very fast, which is one of the reasons I go for it, especially if I'm playing a food-heavy leader or civ, and just kind of double, triple down on the food. You become very strong very quickly. It's actually the next 4. These 4 are my bread and butter, my core to my wonders. Now, that's me. You take it with what you will. You may have others. I just know these are the ones I love to play, and pretty much guarantee I'm going to have a golden age if I hit these 4. The next one, gold, is Gate of All Nations, is associated with Persia, Discipline 2, or Satrapies. If you're playing Persia, I would probably go for Discipline 2. The Satrapies, or Satrapies, I don't know how you say that. In the civic tree, it's pretty far down, and so the cost, like the number of turns, is last time I played them was more than the Discipline 2. So if you want to rush it out, get Discipline 2. Okay, there's also other things in Discipline 2 that are really nice that you'll want. But this gives you +2 war support on all wars, which translates to +2 combat strength. Okay, so if you have Dur Shuriken and Gate of All Nations, and somebody attacks you, when you're defending, you automatically have +5 on defense. And then again, depending on your civ and your leader, you may scale it up even more. Okay, now of course war support can wane from people spending their Diplo. Okay, but at least at the start of the war, you have a pretty nice advantage. And on those upper difficulties, it comes in handy when really, to me, until I have a pretty overwhelming force, I'd rather play a defensive war, let them churn themselves out against my brick wall of Dur Shuriken and Gate of All Nations, and then turn on the offensive after that. A good example of this was my Amina game I played a little while back, where I was just being attacked nonstop, and they just eventually broke, and I turned around and was able to pull something out of it. The next one, which is the last of my core, but the first one I build, is the Great Stele. It's associated with Axumat, and it's pretty early on. You get it at writing. I would, even as Axum, I would go for writing to unlock this. Again, going out of the way to get this when there's other civs early in the game or civics rather, I just wouldn't do it. You're probably heading for writing pretty quick anyways, and deviating out of your trade, out of getting these other wonders unlocked as Axum, it's not a good idea. And so I just go for writing nonstop. Great steal, but you do have to worry about Axum in the game because this is already cheap. Same thing with Persia. And they get 30% off. Okay, so like it can be very fast. So what does Great Stele do? Plus 200 gold for every time a wonder is completed in this settlement, including the Great Stele. It has to be on a flat tile. Now I've seen wonder tier lists and stuff, and people kind of poo-poo this. They're like, oh, but it's not even giving me a gold per turn for the production it took to get it out. Okay, true. But if you're going to be building wonders anyways, and you're going to be completing your cultural legacy path anyways, why wouldn't you get a wonder that gives you gold every time you complete a wonder? Right? Like, yeah, it's kind of whatever in a vacuum by itself. But when you look at the game as a whole, okay, from starts to finish, and you look at your plan of culture victory or cultural legacy path might lead to a culture victory, and you're playing on the upper difficulties, like, why would you not get it? Especially because it comes so early. I find myself a lot of times building the Great Stele when I first was developing my plan, because I didn't really have anything better to build. I didn't want another military unit. I didn't really have a good building to put down. So just kind of left me with, okay, let's build the Great Stele. I got nothing else to do. So this is the first one I built. Normally my build order is something like Great Stele, Dur Shuriken, Gate of All Nations, then Emil Bell. Usually something around in there. Could be switched up where Gate of All Nations is second if I think I'm going to be fighting. I've even done Gate of All Nations first if I think I'm going to be fighting. And then Dur Shuriken. So, yeah, I switch it up, but these are usually the first four I build, with Great Stele being the first one, because then it's like 200 gold, 800 gold for stuff I was already going to do. I finish out the whole cultural path with 7 minimum. That's 1,400 gold for something I was already going to do. And why would I build it, right? Anyways, moving right along. The Halmonga Almaui, 375. You get that at navigation. Now, what I like about this one, even on high difficulties, it is available more often than not because you're on a grassland or tropical tile that is also adjacent to coast. So that's a pretty narrow requirement. Navigation is that section of the tech tree that it doesn't go beyond. You've got to come back down. So the AI doesn't usually hit that very often. And by this point in the game, I've gotten enough science and production that I'm outstripping the AI. So I'll go and grab it if I'm 1 or 2 short and build it real quick. And so what it does, it gives you 2 culture off the bat, then 1 culture and 1 food on fishing boats in this settlement, and 1 culture attribute point. Now, so again, if you're playing Fractal, Island Map, whatever, obviously this is helpful. But if you're planning on going Hawaii or Inca in the Middle Ages, the Exploration Age, then you're going to want this, because it just is going to stack so well with what you're already planning on doing. And that's kind of the gist of this video, and some of the others that I've put out is, when you're focused on a plan that we've talked about before, see what you can do that's going to benefit what you're already doing. And that makes that snowball, that engine we've talked about, accelerate even faster. And this is a good example. If I know I'm already going to be focusing culture and food, especially in the next age, just build this. Like, why not? It's just going to help me. Okay, because these things persist. All right? So going right along. Hanging Gardens, 275, another cheap one. And it comes out of irrigation. Plus 1 food on farms in this settlement, and 10% growth rate in all cities. Be careful. It says cities, not settlements. Plus 1 expansion, attribute point. So Hanging Gardens is really nice. I try to get this one when I can. It has to be adjacent to a river, so not always possible. Irrigation is also kind of early, and so the AI can get to it pretty quick and build it, and then it starts growing nice and big cities when you want that. Again, cities, you have to be careful of the wording. When it wants to do cities, You need to get your cities that you know you're going to do online as soon as possible, but this persists throughout the game. So all your cities later start growing. Also, you're going to be going for irrigation pretty quickly because that gives you a settlement limit. And so most of the time you're going to want as many of those as soon as possible. So, you know, try to work in hanging gardens. It's pretty cheap, pretty easy to place relatively, and gives a lot of great bonuses. If you can get this as like your number 2 wonder pretty quick, like around turn 40 or so, that expansion attribute point that then lets you have cheaper settlers, then the rest of your game, but especially the rest of your age, after 4 settlements, this can be so much easier. And we have the Mausoleum of Theodoric. I feel like this is hard-coded for the AI because they seem to beeline it. It doesn't matter what difficulty I play on. I've tested this out on everything from the middle of the range up to deity, and even with deity mods and stuff to make it harder. And it just seems like the AI is like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to get this one. It's 450. It's not associated with anything, but you have to get to the organized military. So on the civic path, that you go down and you gotta go 3 deep. Like, that's pretty fast or pretty far. And the AI gets it pretty fast. It's like they beeline into it. They don't care about anything else. I mean, it's not bad. It gives +3 production. It gives 100% yields and HP from pillaging. You get a 1 militaristic point, but it has to be adjacent to the coast. Now, this is really nice if you already know you're going to be going something military. Like, I was thinking about doing this with that Carthage game on a islands map, okay, and just who's going to be the leader? I think Lafayette was going to be my leader, and just go to town, because before you get Bulgaria with good yields from pillaging and stuff, and Uganda, you get it in the ancient era, and you can do good work with this. But it's just funny that the AI loves that, and so it's really hard to get to because of how far it is on the civic tree. It's really expensive to get to, and it's pretty expensive to unlock, like build it. So some things to keep in mind. I think I've built it once. That's not one I usually go for, because I'm not playing this style. But if you're playing more militaristic, think about picking it up. It's really good. Now the Monk's Mound from Mississippi, I have built this several times. I also usually get this by going to commerce, not through Earthworks too. Again, because I want commerce as soon as possible. I usually am doing the trade route there first, and then I come back to get all the Mississippian civics, because this just takes what you're already doing and increase it. It makes more sense in my mind to lay the foundation of what their civics are going to boost. So as I'm unlocking them, they slowly get better until they're insane, versus I have all these things unlocked, but I can't use them, and then I've got to go unlock the things to use them and get it built and sent out and all this stuff. So I really go to commerce it in, and it's really nice. +4 food, just right off the rip. +4 food, and you get +4 resource capacity in that settlement adjacent to a river. And so with Mississippi, or anybody that you're trading a lot, that's so nice, because that's nicer than it appears offhand, because depending on your resources that you are putting in that city, like, it's amazing. It really helps, especially into the modern age when you're doing the industry and getting those resources in there to crank out those economic victory points is wonderful. Another favorite one of mine that's cheap and I like to build a lot is the Mundo Perdido, 275, and then Maya builds it, so that's even cheaper. You unlock it in Mysticism 2 or Calendar Round. For Maya, even though I'm going to Calendar Round pretty fast because Maya is sick with the 5% production whenever you complete a science tech, it's I wish it was 10%. 15% is a little overpowered, but 10% would be nice. Anyways, and that persists throughout the game. And Mysticism 2 is just a little bit quicker. And if I want this out there because I have a good tropical tile, which is what it needs to go on, I want it out there because it gives me happiness and science on tropical tiles in this element. So Maya already gets science bonuses for being surrounded by tropical tiles. So now you're just going to double that if you have this out. And that city, that settlement is going to be very good going to be a happy settlement, and it's going to have a lot of science that's generated, and it's just going to persist throughout the game. And so I try to get this one, whether I'm mine or not, just because of the extra happiness in science. Really helps to boost the numbers and win whatever game I'm going for. Next up, Nalanda 450. Unlock that literacy. It gives you a flat 3 science and an extra codex. And then it has 2 codex slots and gives you a scientific attribute point. It has to be built on planes. Nalanda is pretty hard to get on upper difficulties because of how far it is in the tree. Again, the AI will probably beat you there. So you can hope that you have a plane style and they don't. I think the last time I built this, it was weird. It was like there was grassland surrounding one plane style that I had, and everybody else was on grassland. There was like almost no plane style on the map, and the ones that were with the early cities, so they got used up pretty quick because the AI doesn't plan very well. But it's very hard to get. It's really nice. The codex slot is nice. Those switch to, or at least, I don't know if it's intended or not, but I've seen it switch to be able to hold any work of arts, any artifact dug up like relic. It's done that in my game. So I don't know if that's intended or not, but that's really nice. It makes it a lot easier, a lot faster going forward if you can grab it. And of course, the scientific attribute point is really nice because then you're just going to be rolling your science. Oracle, of course, we know is from Greece, and it's 375. Public Life or Samapia 2. This one is actually one that it could go either or depending on your game. I've unlocked it both ways with Greece. It just depends on what kind of game and what do you need. But I like it a lot. 2 culture, pretty good. It needs to be on a rough tile, and then when you're gaining rewards from a narrative event, you get an additional 10 culture per age. So modern age, that's 30 culture per narrative event. Now, I really like it. I paired this with Jose, who also gets more rewards for narrative events per age. And boy, oh boy, was it lovely. I think I went from a narrative event that gave me like 10 culture normally, because it's one that happens often. So I had a narrative event that I got like in the Antiquity Age that I got like 60 culture for or something. Like it was something outrageous. Don't hold me to those numbers, but it was outrageous. I could tell the bonuses were coming through, and it was amazing. This one I like to build because of those extra yields on narrative events. Sometimes my culture is lacking. Just because in Civ 7 compared to Civ 6, and the other ones, culture is strong, obviously, to unlock your wonders and settlement limits and other things, but it doesn't seem as strong as in Civ 6. Like a lot of the things that made you powerful in Civ 6 were locked behind culture early. So regardless of what you were doing in Civ 6, you wanted production and culture fairly early so that you could unlock like your extra build charges on your builders and government forms so you can get more cards. In Civ 7, culture doesn't seem as powerful or as needed. So I'm usually lacking, so I like this because it helps to fill that gap. Next up, Petra, everybody's favorite meme in the Antiquity Age, 375. Code of laws has to be on a desert tile. 2 gold, flat, then 1 gold and 1 production for every desert tile in the settlement. I like it. I mean, desert tiles in Civ 7 are not as bad as they used to be in other Civ games, so making it all have +1 gold and +1 production makes it even better. I really like Petra. I try to go to Petra if I have desert tile. If not, then I just sit there and I cry for a little bit because I can't get Petra. Also, if you ever get a chance to go to Petra, it's wonderful. I love it. Don't let them scam you on riding the camels. Okay, like they'll just give you to a circle. You can convince them to let you go a longer distance. All right, I did that. It was wonderful. Next up, Pyramid of the Sun, 450 at mathematics. This is another deep one that the AI likes a lot. You get 3 culture off the bat, 2 culture on each quarter in the settlement. It has to be on a flat tile adjacent to a district, which is fine because you're going to have districts by this point. This one, to me, it's okay. Is the 2 on each quarter of the settlement is pretty good, but like I was just saying, to me, I don't find culture being that important in Civ 7. So for me, if I was ranking these, this would just be middle of the pack. Like, I'll get it if I need it, but I really don't want to waste the time on it. It's just, yeah, it's just kind of whatever to me. And it's so far into the game, the first age, that it's just like, did I even save a spot? You know, that's why this is available most times, is because the AI didn't save a flat tile next to district. So make sure you do that. Another one that is usually, if I had desert, this in Petra will give me 5 and 6 on my out of my 7, because I like this so much. 275, the pyramids with Egypt, so it's gonna be super cheap, and you get it with Light of Amun-Ra or Masonry. Just go for Masonry. You're gonna need it for other things. You get +1 gold and 1 production on minor and navigable rivers in this settlement. Super powerful if you have like a real big marshy map. Okay, think of the Nile Delta in Egypt IRL, where it's super marshy, lots of rivers, minor rivers, big rivers. You want something like that in game. That is going to be really nice, but it has to be desert that's adjacent to a navigable river, which can be hard to get. Thankfully, Egypt has spawn buys for that, and so if you're having troubles and you want to build that, and you want to have a nice big gold production game, go for Egypt early on. It's going to be super helpful. I actually don't really see the AI besides Egypt building this a lot. It could just be me. Maybe it's the placement, but it's kind of difficult. So we're going to go through. We're talking about Sanchi Stupa, 375 for Moria. You get it at Citizenship 2 or Macha Parashad. 2 happiness, 1 culture for excess happiness in the settlement. It doesn't say for each excess happiness, it just says for excess happiness, so I need to go look that up, like do that in game, because if it's just 1 culture just for having excess happiness, that's kind of nothing. But the way Moria plays with every 5 excess happiness you have some bonus, I'd imagine Sanchi Stupa is something like that, where so much extra happiness you get more culture. It has to be on a plains tile. It's fairly cheap, so it's pretty doable. Terracotta Army 375. This is another one that AI loves. Like, they rush to Mausoleum of Theodoric and then they come back and get Terracotta Army. It's just ridiculous because its tactics is how you unlock it. 2 production, which is nice, especially early on. Grants a free army commander when built. So if you do it right, you get 2 free army commanders, and then all your army commanders get extra experience. So again, if you're going for an army of military victory, get this wonder. It's beautiful. On a grassland tile is where it has to be built. And then last for the Antiquity Age is the Weiying Palace, 375, built by the Han, the unlocked citizenship, or Junzi. It gives just a flat +6 influence, has to be built on a grassland. Weiying Palace is pretty good. It's a little deep and out of the way with how I usually play. So it's pretty mid to late age before I get it, but this stays with you. All these stay with you throughout the whole game, as far as I can tell. So that 6 influence is going to come in handy going forward. But that's it for all 21 wonders in the Antiquity Age. We're going to stop there. In the next video, we're going to go over Exploration Age wonders, and then Modern wonders. Those can be a little more forgiving whether you get them or not, because they're not involved in any of the legacy paths, but you need to know what they do because they have some powerful abilities. Like one of my favorite ones is El Escorial, which is sneak peek. 3 happiness, 3 relic slots, 1 settlement limit, and +4 happiness on cities within 7 tiles of this wonder. So if you had a tight empire, you just got a lot of happiness by building that thing. Okay, so that's just a little sneak peek. Okay, so again, make sure you look through this. You have a plan. my 7, excuse me, that I do. I think I'm getting sick, guys. Sorry. And here's the build order. Actually, I'll do you one better. Here's my usual plan of build order. Great Steel, 1. Gate of All Nations, 2. Dura Shuriken, 3. Emil Bell, 4. Okay. Bursa, 5. Monk's Mount, 6. If I can get it, Petra or Pyramids, 7. Then the other ones, I just get wherever I can get. Okay? And so that's where we're going to leave it. I will leave the wonders on this last little bit. I like the animations. I think they're really nice, beautiful, really powerful. But to me, the wonders, because of their effects and how the game plays, don't seem quite as good or as powerful as wonders used to. So I often, after the Antiquity Age, I don't build a whole lot of them. And so maybe you're the same, but if we know the effects of them, we'll make a better plan of using them. Okay? It just is a question of, is it worth the production based on all your other things? Because the wonders, out of anything, because I'm not sure I've had it where the production doesn't seem to overflow, and sometimes it does if it gets stolen. Maybe that's just a bug in the game I've had. But the wonders present, well, really Civ 7 or all the Civ games, it all come down to what kind of engine are you building, like we talked before, but also opportunity costs. And what I mean by that is, by choosing to do something, by choosing to build the Bursa, I'm choosing not to do all these other things. Okay? Which gets even more and more important in the higher difficulties. And so, for building any wonder, what is your opportunity cost? That's why I was kind of talking about that a little bit when I was talking about the Great Sea Lake. When I unlock this, the opportunity cost is usually pretty low, because it's like, I'm not sure that I would get better value doing anything else. You know, it depends on the game. Maybe I would, but it comes so early, I'm not sure I would be better off doing anything else. Versus something like the Pyramid of the Sun that I was just talking about. It comes so late in the game, and I've got other things to do and worry about. My production in gold is ramping, my science is ramping, my culture is ramping. The opportunity cost is much higher. Like, this just doesn't cost 450 production. I'm convinced I'm getting sick. This 450 production is opportunity cost. Like, what could I be producing instead? What could I be doing instead that's going to do more than what this wonder gives me? So you may have some of your favorites like I do. But when you're filling in your gaps to hit that 7 mark, really be thinking about the opportunity cost. Okay, well, I have to get to this part of the civic tree, unlock it, then build it. You know, that's whatever, 20 turns. What could I be doing in those 20 turns that might help my game better? Now, if you're going for the legacy path, by all means, do it. All right, but even then, think a little bit to see, what am I already doing? If I'm already going in this direction, is there something I can add to it? Alright, there's no need to go off in this other direction just for the legacy path. There's a way to play it all together. Alright, so keep that in mind. Make sure you hit that like button if you like the wonders. I like how they're associated with certain civs and they get a little bit of a bonus. That's a lovely change to Civ 7. So if you like that, make sure you hit that like button. Comment down below. I do want to know what your favorite wonder is. What are your favorite go-to wonders are that you find yourself building all the time? And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for more of the ultimate guide to Civ 7, as well as other Civ 7 4X and strategy content that we'll be putting out. This has been your Casual Dad. I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.